So for tonight, I'm very excited that Adriana is going to let us into a world I know not so much about. We all wonder, what is a voiceover? The guy on TV in the toothpaste commercial or selling me a fancy car, but we don't know much else. And I think what I loved about our conversation today is that you said a couple of things, which I know you're going to say, so I won't give away the tagline, but it's more than just being a voice or an actor or an artist. It's really about communicating and opening up conversation with people and listening and all of those good things that I know Meg for sure. And when I started back in, I don't know, 1998, doing odd bits of things with the Knowledge Project, including getting a lot of grants and being in a lot of schools, mainly in the South Bronx for a while. We always felt the foundation of all the work we do for the Knowledge Project and for the kids and teens and families involved. Two things, writing and communication. Under that, we also have media and citizenship and all kinds of good things. But mostly it's about anything to do with the literacy of writing, the literacy of telling your story, telling your truth. And the wonderful thing that we've added to it recently, since the pandemic, actually, I think this was Meg's summer brainchild, or, a lot of time spent alone in your, lockdown, is the whole notion of these master classes. We used to be about writing coaching, pretty much creative writing, nonfiction writing, essay writing. We still promote that, but we brought in the arts. We'd always had the arts, but sort of as background partners. And now it's like, what are the arts? These are entrees into both more creative life and also an entree into people like Adriana, who is teaching, sharing a very particular skill set. So even if we have a room full of teenagers who all want to be superstars overnight or have their own podcast or their own whatever, they do need basic skills, as we all do, whether you're 15 or 50 or 80. And so I don't want to go on more because you're going to explain it much better than I can. But I'm really, really happy to introduce you and have you take it away and open up your conversation about your work and your upcoming course.
Thank you, Sheila.
So Adriana, here you go.
Thank you, Sheila, Meg, everybody. So pleased that you're all here tonight. Just a little quick introduction. I'm Adriana Davis. That's the easy part of my last name, the easy one, Davis. And I'm a producer, writer, editor, voice artist, and coach. I have been doing all these things through my company right behind me here, D Squared Media, can partly see, for the last 25 years. And I've worked with hundreds of voice talent throughout the world, but primarily in the United States. And we have had one-on-one training, we've had group classes like this, and it's such a wonderful side of production that I actually stumbled into myself. My very first voiceover was when I was a producer at the Great Neck Public Access Television, where Wayne's World, if people still remember that. I had my own show there, and somebody didn't show up to do a commercial for a local theater group who was putting on The Diary of Anne Frank. And they said, "Hey, why don't you do the voiceover?" And I said, "What's a voiceover?" And I quickly realized that I did the voiceover. I loved it. It was so energizing. And it led me down a path to where I eventually I worked in news for a long time. I worked for A&E History Channel, did a lot of 1-hour documentaries, producing from the producing side, but always kept up my voice. I continued training with several different teachers, as well as being hired for voice talent as a voice talent for different productions. And that all continued along until I founded D Squared Media in 1995. So and since then we've had D Squared, and we've done everything from feature films to a lot more documentaries and a lot of corporate video, which is something I'm going to talk about tonight. That's a big area in voice acting. And by the way, you're going to hear me keep saying voice acting and not voice over for a lot of reasons. But the biggest reason is something we were saying before. It's about it is a performance. It's just with your voice and only your voice. So I'm going to open up that world a little bit to you tonight. A short overview about some voice acting techniques. We're going to talk about the different areas of voiceover, the marketplaces where voice is used and how it's used. And I'm going to try and be brief. And I'm going to be really honest, that's not my forte. But I'm going to try and be brief because I want you all to get what we call on mic tonight. I want to hear you all perform. And don't anybody worry about having jitters. This is a friendly, constructive place. It's a place where you can feel safe and you will be encouraged and nurtured along. So don't anybody feel that way. And don't worry about the sound of your voice, because every single voice in voice acting today has a place. You just have to find it. So we're going to try and have to get some of the training. So I applaud you all for actually getting the training, because there's a lot of folks during this pandemic that have taken on voice acting as an idea for a business, because you can run it out of your home. And it's a terrific business to run out of your home, but not everybody goes and gets the training. So I applaud you for taking these first steps. So, and if you do want to take it further, at the end, I'm going to talk about the 5-week course that I can take you on through the Knowledge Project. And during those classes, we'll go into further depth about the techniques and tips, how to be a professional voice actor, or how to use your voice in a more productive way in any of your communication skills. Whether you're trying to brand yourself in a business, or you're trying to pursue some passion that you love. Maybe you want to have a podcast. A lot of people do these days. Even just being on Zoom, having a virtual job interview. All of these things can be helped by learning how to use your voice to excel your communication skills, to mirror the listener, to be able to extend something so that you are able to get your point of view across. At the same time, you create an emotional reaction in the listener. And that's what it's all about. So I hope you'll see all the uses of taking voice training. So I want to start by saying that everyone here has experience with voice acting. Whether you do it, does anyone here, you can just raise your hand, who has some real voice acting experience? Right. But you know what? Every one of you should have raised your hands, because you're all consumers. And every consumer has had to listen to voices for years, probably since, I was going to say, since you were babies, but maybe even before. The marketers have been trying to sell to you by creating an emotional response via the voice talent that they hire, via the scripts that they write, the visuals that they use. It's all designed to create something in you that will get you motivated and into action, to try something, to buy something, to tell somebody about a product or service. And so I want you all to think a lot about what you bring. Your own natural experiences are what you're going to bring to your performances tonight, and as voice artists, or as simply as communicators. So I'm going to take a few minutes just to disavow of what you think voiceover or voice acting is. I think some of you might have misconception and think it's reading or oration or narration, or even lecturing or public speaking. Some of my favorite challenges as a coach was working with people who were incredible public speakers. Maybe they were electors in their church, or they were head of a group where they were always speaking in public in front of hundreds of people. And they thought that was voice acting. It is not. It is the opposite of voice acting. So it is not about talking to a group, because when you do, you will orate or you will narrate instead of communicate or be conversational. It's not oration or narration, it's conversation. So that's one of the first things to disavow you of. Also, that when we're acting, voice acting, we only get our voice. That's it. That's all we get. We don't get costumes. We don't get makeup. We don't even get another person most of the time to act off of. We have to create all of those things in here. So voice acting, I'd add another shun to the list. It's about imagination as well. You have to add imagination to these, words on a page that you were given, and not even your own words. They're someone else's words. So you have to make them yours. In voice acting, we want to get at the core. We want to get at that real true emotion that the advertiser and the copywriter are using to try to motivate the audience into a sale. And this applies across the board for, I'll go into the different types, but whether it's corporate or commercial or audiobooks or animations, which I know my friend Joe there loves to do, but all those different kinds of things, it applies all the same. You must create an emotional response. Actually, maybe Michelle can tell us a little bit. Have you've done voiceovers, and maybe just share that experience a little bit?
I was interning at a radio station, and because the head of production walked in and needed someone to voice a commercial for Chevrolet, and he didn't have to pay me, he hired me and I did a commercial that didn't have any music under it or anything, and then almost drove my car off the road when I heard myself doing a whole minute of this commercial that was airing on 106.1 BLI a few years back. So it was very, very cool and highly addictive that I realized what I liked about doing it. And I kind of just let it go, I guess, as a lot of people do, like, could I really do something with this? But I knew it was fun. And I really enjoyed just the process. And I have my reel, thanks to Adriana and working with her.
Mary, I heard your recording today. Thank you so much for sending it. Did you want to tell us a little bit about your background? Have you done voiceovers, maybe singing, writing, that kind of thing?
Actually, I do technical writing for a medical imaging company at this time. And they just recently asked me to do a voiceover for one of the demos they're doing at one of the breast cancer shows. So I hitched up my studio and did that. Prior to that, I had done writing for Hologic and for a dental burr company. And I've done some voiceover work for them as well. But it's kind of been on a back burner for a while because the technical writing picked up a bit more. I also became a grandmother and have taken on some childcare responsibilities. And so I'm trying to get back into the voiceover.
There are a lot of storytellers out there, and I will tell you, writers tend to be a little introverted and quiet, and then they have to read out loud, and Zoom is a great place to break that ground. So I'm just hoping that Margie and other quiet writers also can benefit, and maybe you can speak to that. How can someone who never ever wants to, unlike Mary and Michelle and Joe and others, they may never want to do this, but it might really be useful for them.
Well, it could be very useful for all the advice I give to all my large family, who always listen to me because they're very polite. They may not follow my advice, but they listen nicely.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, my name is Brian. I'm 14, and I don't really have any experience in voice acting. I mainly do on stage acting in theaters. So I guess I'm always in the spotlight.
I know that's good though, that you bring those acting skills with you. Rachel, I know, is an actress as well as does voice work, and those skills are what all voiceover artists want to have. So you'd be bringing a lot. Do you have a favorite commercial, maybe, Brian? Something that really gets to you?
I guess the OxyClean.
OxyClean. Why?
I don't know, because I'm really familiar with the actor who does it, and I kind of like the enthusiasm. So I guess as a little kid, that commercial will always come up. So I guess every time I watch TV and I see OxyClean, it reminds me of that specific commercial.
So they got to you.
Yeah.
They connected you to the product. That's all what this is about. Well, we'll hope you'll come on mic a little bit later and we can see some of those acting chops, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Rachel, maybe you could speak a little bit to how it translates for you as an actress in the voice world.
Sure. Hi, I'm Rachel. I am an actor, obviously voice and on camera. Brian, like you, I started on stage growing up. And when I was 16, I got into professional on-camera stuff, and I realized I could make money doing this thing that I loved. And I was like, great, sign me up. Where do I go? And I went to college, and as I graduated college, I did a couple commercials right off the bat in the DC area, one of which was for the National Aquarium. And they filmed it, myself and a guy, looking at the fish tank. But the way the commercial actually showed was the two fishes looking like they were talking to one another. And then it cut to the two of us. So we started, like they filmed all of it. But after we filmed, they had us go into a quiet part of the aquarium and say all the lines again into the mic. So that was my first sort of like forte into it. Since then, I've done some internal marketing stuff for Kahlua.
To me, there is no difference between a commercial performance or a corporate. It's just a different emotion. I know if I don't go back to Joe, he's going to jump out of his seat. So go ahead, Joe.
Oh, thank you. Hey, Adriana. And just a little, for me going back, I go back to 2014 is when I officially really got into voiceover. And I went to a boot camp with Adriana at Avatar Studios in New York. And it was just the highlight of my life. And it was beautiful. And since then, I've been part of voices.com. And now I'm gonna get myself loaded into Fiverr.
And Joe represents, he had a clear idea of what he wanted to be as a voice actor. And through work and study, he really found other avenues or other marketplaces for his voice. Yeah. I think he wanted to do a lot of animation when we first started. And
yeah.
Do lots of
yeah, I do it for fun, but I love my voice prompts. Oh, I don't know why.
Voice prompts are, everybody, that's what they call when you call in and tells you, press 1 for, yeah, exactly. It's a lot of money in that,
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. Jane, Garrett, welcome. Please give us a little bit of how you got started.
I'm officially unmuted.
Yay.
All right. Well, actually, I got started. My son is in theater. And when he was single digit, we did a local boot camp for voiceover. And they realized some copy he was doing needed a mom. And they said, well, come here, Mom. So I went in and read the copy. And then they ended up having me write some copy because my passion is writing. So not rewriting, writing. And I write lyrics now and I do some branding. So words are really important. I've worked with Adriana in, I don't know what year it was. I don't even know what year it is now. And that's okay. I tend to do more corporate. My voice tends to lend itself to that. And I'm an author, so I'm going to put some books on tape or books on whatever the modern term is. Would you upgrade me here?
Audiobooks.
Audiobooks, thank you. So that's my story. I've dabbled in it for generations, for decades, and with my son and myself, and it's been a fun journey.
And really, you've really seen your talent just increase as things have, there's always that raw germ of it. And everyone here could book. I want you to understand. And the book means, book a job. Everyone here could. Yes, Rachel has a certain vocal sound that we tend to associate. Michelle has that too. But all vocal types book. I promise you that. You just have to find the right one for you. And then stretch the performance. And I've seen you stretch, girl. So I really like that. we go to, I think I was saying this with Sheila today, that the Knowledge Project is about stretching and growing into other areas. And that's what we want to do. Some folks are really great at connecting with a certain emotion in their vocal performance. But for others, that particular emotion might be difficult. Some folks have trouble with kind of, maybe authoritative sounding, whereas someone else might have some trouble with being a little lighter and silly and goofy. So it's those kinds of stretching is where you grow. I always say when things feel too difficult for you, or you think there's too much on your plate, add one more thing. Jonathan Dodd, hi, Jonathan.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good, thank you. What brought you to us, and what's your background with voice or acting or?
All right, sorry for the no camera. I'm on my computer that doesn't have one, so bear with me. To start off, I'm 24 years old. I actually am a musician, and when I was in high school, I actually volunteered to announce some marching band performances.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's kind of like my only experience, and also my friends just telling me to do voice impressions. So that's not really much, but that's kind of all I got right now.
You hit on a great word, Jonathan, announcer. We tend to think of announcing as voice acting. And for those of you who just come in, Felicia, Jeff, welcome. What I was saying in the beginning is that voice acting, if you want to be really successful at it in the sense of being able to be very marketable across different genres, you want to be able to not orate or narrate or announce, but to actually converse and communicate. So it's not oration, it's not narration, it's conversation. I keep repeating that, I know, but it's an important way to look at this, and it will change your perspective, which one of the reasons I don't like the term announcer. And sometimes even on copy it will say announcer, and I just disregard that and I draw a line through it, because it's not about announcing, it's about communicating an emotion and an idea. So great, Jonathan, you bring a lot to that. Thank you so much. And we're going to get everybody on mic, but I want to give everybody a quick chance here. Liz, I think you got yourself unmuted, right?
Yeah, I was focusing on audiobooks, and I did some volunteer work at the Ridgefield Library. The thing with that is you had to have a partner, because the computer was in the soundproof area, but you had to have somebody monitor from the outside. So we take turns, an hour recording and then an hour being the monitor and operating the equipment. So that gave me some wonderful experience. And it was also for a very good cause, reading for the blind and dyslexic. So now I think I want to restart my voiceover career, and I think I want to focus on e-learning.
And Liz always brings up, if you don't mind me kind of pointing out to you, there's something that we call vocal age. And vocal age means absolutely nothing about your age. So we've got all kinds of ages here. Brian bringing in the 14-year-old set, and then we've got me at the higher end of that, but and a few others. But the point is, it has nothing whatsoever to do with your chronological age. It's how you sound and come across, and that is, and not really even how you sound, but how you can create that different emotion with the voice that you have. Let me get Jeff Friedman here, and then Felicia will come your way.
Way back in the day, I was in radio and really loved the idea of using voice to reach a lot of people. Then I had moved to Wisconsin back in 97 or 98, something like that. And where I was working, there was an audio studio right next door. And so because I had done some radio, I got chummy with those guys and whatever. And one day they came over to my office and said, Jeff, one of our voiceover talents is sick and can't do a spot, and we've got to record it today. Would you be interested in doing that? I'm like, yeah, okay. So I did that and started doing more and more work for them. And I really then just, got bit hard by the VO bug and realized how cool it is. I realized I needed to start from scratch in terms of training and stuff. And that's where I met Adriana. And right. And so we worked together, and she opened my eyes to so many things, and about, it's when you listen to people on TV, it seems so easy,
Yeah.
until you get behind the mic and then try to do it and try to sound natural. But it's not just sounding natural, because you got to know how to hit the right words and the emphasis and blah blah blah. And I learned a ton of how to do that.
And Felicia, did you want to quickly give us a sense of how you, or what your interest is in voice acting?
I did theater when I was younger, and it was really fun because I really like theater and I like doing imitations. But when I did like voice kind of thing, imitate other people's voices, I did it amongst my friends.
I think that the idea of imitation being the most sincerest form of flattery, right? So that's a great place to begin, and to learn about, to kind of start from that. We sometimes talk about that when we're first training people. That's a great introduction, and I just want to jump in so we can get everyone on mic, okay? I'm going to try and get as many of you folks on as we can. I think we went through the various realms really quickly. That there's the two we're going to focus on in this copy that I sent you is commercial and corporate. So, and we talked about some of the areas that corporate gets into: medical, legal, real estate, virtual tours, you may see, trade associations, all kinds of different things. And then book promos, all these niche markets that come up, telephony that Joe was talking about, doing political ads, all kinds of things. I've done them all. To be honest with you, I've touched on each one of them. In my company at D-Squared, we produce those kinds of videos. And then there's the commercial realm, which is the one you're probably most familiar with, which is radio, TV, internet, of course. But actually in corporate, you're going to be heard in a lot more different settings. So I won't go into all the advantages or the reasons why corporate is such an important area to market yourself. That's for a later course, but I do want you to understand the difference between them. And the difference is just really in the way that they're written. There's a lot more copy when it comes to, a lot longer copy when it comes to commercial, corporate. Commercial tends to be snappier and shorter. So, there's different ways of working with it, but they're the two biggest realms and the two areas that you'll need a demo reel for. And they would never be combined. There's a corporate reel and there's a commercial reel. They're not combined. And that's part of what you're learning by working with a working voice acting professional. And in my case, a producer who hires voice talent as well. I wanted to play for you one of the recordings I've gotten. Let's take Mary's, Mary Hurley. Let me share my screen. And let's see if I can, here we go. And let's see if you guys are going to be able to hear this. And hit share.
Mary Hurley, and I'm reading from the corporate category. Performance Sports Medical Group. Hi, I'm Mary. We know when it comes to injuries, they're not all created equal, not how it happened and not how you treat it. That's why at Performance Sports Medical Group, our team of doctors coordinate and customize your care. We offer the most advanced treatment options and medical technology available, all with one goal in mind: get you back in the game and living life, pain-free, drug-free, surgery-free. Let me give you a quick glimpse of who we are and what we can do for you. Sports Medical Group. Click on the goalpost below to take the first step toward a healthier, more active you. PMG. Get better faster, stay better longer.
Okay, could everybody please mute themselves just when we're doing that? I think you still should be able to hear it, right? So, Mary, I had a few notes on that for you. I'm not seeing you here, but let me just pull it back. I thought it was really nice. I thought it had, you were very friendly in the beginning, which I really liked. And I just thought it needed a little bit more smoothing out. So Mary, you can unmute yourself just so you can understand the direction or ask questions. Okay. And you had some really nice moments of flow. What I mean by flow is the way the phrases go from one to the next. I think that one mistake I would not do, because it set off the performance in the wrong direction, was to announce the title. And I never like to do that, because these days we label our files anyway, so they already know what you're recording, right?
Okay.
So don't start it off with that, because if you do, it puts you in a different headspace. You want to start right off with something that puts you in the place of performance sports marketing. However you're relating to that. You were given no direction on it, so you chose the direction. What I would say is you want to give that. I wanted you to, as you went along, you got more into the performance, and when you did, it made it sticky, meaning that I got interested in what you were saying. You pulled me in, and that's because you forgot about yourself and you started getting into the copy. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So, and these are not edited, right? You didn't edit them, right?
Only to take the breaths out.
Oh, I wouldn't have even had to do that, because that helps me understand your pacing. But your pacing was good, but I don't know if you took big gaps in between. So that, I would work with you on that.
Okay.
But when I think you believed in the piece as it went further and further along. So I'd like you to pick up your pace a little bit and kind of get from one thing to the next a little bit sooner. That doesn't mean talk quicker. That means tighten up the spaces between the phrasing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so why don't you give it a shot?
Oh, well, I don't have the copy in front of me. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry about it. We'll keep moving on then. We'll move on. But if you want to grab that together, I'll give you another shot on that.
I'll see if I have it. I might have ditched it, but okay. Thanks, Adriana.
No problem. Jeff, I'm going to go ahead and quickly play yours.
Hi, I'm Jim. We know when it comes to injuries, they're not all created equal. Not how it happened and not how you're treated. That's why at Performance Sports Medical Group, our team of doctors coordinate and customize your care. Hi, I'm Jim. We know when it comes to injuries, they're not all created equal. Not how it happened and not how you're treated. That's why at Performance Sports Medical Group, our team of doctors coordinate and customize your care. We offer the most advanced treatment options and medical technology available, all with one goal in mind: get you back in the game and living life. Pain-free, drug-free, surgery-free. Let me give you a quick glimpse of who we are and what we can do for you. At Performance Sports Medical Group, click on the goalposts below to take your first step towards a healthier, more active you. PMG. Get better faster. Stay better longer.
Yeah, I really liked where you went with that. I'm going to check my notes here. What I was feeling about it was that, just a little bit like Mary, you have a great sound, and that's really good copy for you. By the way, that's a corporate piece of copy, if I ever heard one. That really, it's informative. At the same time, it has to be a little entertaining. So I thought your performance was highly informative. I felt like I got information from it. So that was really good. And that's a really prized direction in corporate voice acting. I just thought it lacked a little friendliness. Unlike where we want to put smile, I want to add smile to that one. Whereas Rachel was told to take smile away, I want to add smile to it. I like what Michelle is writing there. You'd go to any medical office that sounded like Mary or Jeff. But I just felt that you got more comfortable with it as it went along too. And is that right, or did you feel?
Yeah, I actually had a second version that was friendlier. But yeah, and here's the thing. So, and this is where I really struggle, because I've been doing a lot of, not that it's new, but listening to ads on, every commercial. People say, turn off the commercial, turn up the commercial. You want to hear what other people are doing. And what I hear things booking on national spots, and I'm really surprised at sometimes how kind of lacking in personality. They're more, and so I did that thinking that's kind of what I'm hearing out there. But I agree, I was reluctant to send that one because I thought it was a little too.
And again, I put you in a guessing game, didn't I? Because I didn't give you direction of how I wanted it in terms of friendliness. So sometimes, you know, obviously, folks, you would get that direction before you put together an audition, let's say. But no, I think that it's that sort of director's prerogative. If they want to pick there to be add a little more smiley. What I wanted to get across, though, was the idea that there is this concept in advertising, and it applies even though this is corporate, problem plus solution equals motivation. There's always a problem. Oh, my teeth aren't white enough, or I can't get a date, or whatever it might be. What was the OxyClean, Brian? You know, or something along those lines. You know, there's a problem. This product is the solution. And that from that solution, you are motivating people to go try it or buy it or whatever. And so that's what I was hoping to hear a little bit more of, was to bring us along an arc there. Bring us along a story arc. So, but you have, and I think Rachel has that, Michelle I know does, Jane also to a certain extent. You have a natural authoritativeness and informative sound in your voice. You don't need to ever push those. What you need to add are the other emotions that go along with that, because there is no such thing as I'm happy or I'm sad. You're somewhere in between. You're always somewhere, you know, and that's human emotion. It's layered. It's textured. And that's where how you can rise above the frankly very competitive field that voice acting has become. You can rise above it by adding more dimensions and nuances to your performance, as you would on stage, Brian or Rachel, right? You would add other things to it, but we only get, you know, this here to do it with, right? We don't get the other nice things like costumes and makeup. You want to try it real quick for me? Maybe just try the beginning part if you have it, or if you don't. We'll
I think I grab it. Give me 5 seconds.
I'll let you grab that, but I want to move on. I got to ask Brian do you feel comfortable doing a read here for us?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So I also was planning on choosing the performing sports medical group.
Is there any one of the commercial ones that you liked?
I'll see. I'll recheck the email.
Okay. So why don't you check the email and quickly maybe prepare one of those commercial ones, and we'll let Jeff go ahead and revoice that one for us.
Good. Hi, I'm Jim. We know when it comes to injuries, they're not all created equal. Not how it happened, and not how you're treated. That's why at Performance Sports Medical Group, our team of doctors coordinate and customize your care. We offer the most advanced treatment options and medical technology available, all with one goal in mind: get you back in the game and living life, pain-free, drug-free, surgery-free. Let me give you a quick glimpse of who we are and what we can do for you at Performance Sports Medical Group. Click on the goalpost below to take your first step towards a healthier, more active you. PMG. Get better faster. Stay better longer.
Yeah, there was a little more brightness to that, right? And you know, that's also what we suffer from, you know, the first take. You know, nobody, and by the way, that's what we call every time you record something for a director, it's called a take. And your very first take, I mean, you don't get paid extra, guys, if you get it on the first take. I hate to tell you. So it's more about trying to, what we like to call, take direction. And Jeff and I were, you know, we have an advantage because we know each other. And so he knows my direction, but he took direction really well. He bent to what I wanted it to be. And that's a really important point, because chances are your director is your conduit to the client, which is in this case, Performance Sports Medical Group. They know what Performance Sports wants, probably not you as the voice actor. So you need to depend on, you bring your own something to it. I'm always for experimenting and letting talent, that's what you're called, by the way, you're called the talent, letting the talent go ahead and try something, go to a different place than where I directed them. I like directing by committee, that works. But I really rely on my director when I'm performing to help me guide the performance to what the client is looking for, because in the end, they pay the bill. So they're the ones to please. Nice job there though, Jeff, really responded well.
Thanks.
Okay, Brian, did you find one?
Yeah.
Which one?
Fresh Pet.
Fresh Pet. Okay, great. You can change that Rudy's mom to Rudy's dad if you like.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll give you just a little direction. This is supposed to be kind of someone writing a letter, right? So they're going to be a little more thoughtful in the beginning, right? They're going to kind of be thinking, you know, when you sit down to maybe write an email or send a text, you're not sure what you want to say at first. And then when you're in the middle of it, you're writing everything, right? So you're feeling more comfortable with it. So it's a little sad in the beginning, but then it's going to make the turn. That's another big aspect in voiceover copy. We always look for the turn. Very rarely does any commercial or even corporate video end on a sad note. It's usually something that's been resolved. So, okay, here we go. When you're ready, Brian.
Okay. Dear Fresh Pet, I've got 5 boys. Rudy's the youngest, but when he got older, he suddenly stopped eating. After a few days, he was too weak to stand up. Then suddenly, we found Fresh Pet. The dog who wouldn't eat cleaned his bowl. Now Rudy's 13 and going on 3. Thank you, Fresh Pet. Love, Rudy's dad.
So I hear your acting training to project, right? You know, and you're kind of pushing the performance. There's so many nice things in there. There's a nice freshness and realness that I heard, which is 2 big terms in voice acting. You're going to get that direction a lot. Be real, and you were. Just you don't have to worry about that. Now, I know we're doing this over, you know, mics on our phone or a laptop, but you would always have a proper microphone. So we don't have to worry about the volume of our voice in any way. Try it where it's a little bit more, where you're kind of seeing Rudy, that dog, right? You're seeing him. And in the beginning, he's got some problems, right? He's not doing so well. And so you want to get to that sympathy place a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you feel a little bit bad. You may not even own a dog. That doesn't mean you have to in order to do this. You just have to relate the idea of feeling a little bit sad. And then something happened and it made everything better. Can you think of something like that? You don't have to tell us what it is, but can you think of something like that happened in your life not long ago? Where you weren't so sure about something and then you were feeling a little scared and then it turned around and it turned out to be great. I know in rough times, none of us are feeling great. But exactly. So try to put yourself in that time and place. When you feel like, take a moment, even close your eyes, get yourself to that place, and then start the copy again.
Okay. Dear Fresh Pet, I've got 5 boys. Rudy's the youngest, but when he got older, he suddenly stopped eating. After a few days, he was too weak to stand. Then we found Fresh Pet. The dog who wouldn't eat cleaned his bowl. Now Rudy's 13 and going on 3. Thank you, Fresh Pet. Love, Rudy's dad.
Yeah. Did you feel that? Did you feel the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, you took us from one place and left us in another. That's real and really quick, man. I mean, that was what? I mean, in about a minute and a half. I mean, that's really great. And that's what you want to do all the time. You want to let yourself just dive into that copy so that you make it your own. And we use any other experience, you know, that we have in our life to do that. I'm sure that's been an acting principle that they've taught you along the way too. So nice job.
Thank you.
Let me grab somebody here. Jonathan, would you like to try a piece of copy?
Adriana, just want to check in with people around
time.
We're
running over. Right.
I'm not sure how many more people will get to do this fabulous activity, but if people are willing to stay a bit longer, that would be okay. And just to make sure everyone here I mean, you all sound great to me. I'd love to hear any of you, although I'm the one who mutes all the commercials now on TV, but
don't do that. We need that. we need to learn.
Now I'm going to start listening. I just can't wait to see who shows up for this amazing course, because you brought up so many concepts that I know people can learn a lot over 5 weeks rather than one Zoom call. So thanks. And we could probably do 1 or 2 more before ending.
Sure. And I do want to say 1 or 2 things at the end. So just about what we'll teach on those 5 weeks. So just to give everybody a bit of a primer. But Jonathan, did you want to, since I had already. called on you? Would you like?
Unfortunately, I actually signed up for this class rather late, so I don't have any of the copies. So
Not a problem. I hope you're enjoying listening, and we learn by listening to others being directed too. So that's not a problem. I hope that's helpful for you.
oh yeah, really fun.
Terrific, terrific. I'm going to then go to Joe. I have your recording, but let's go ahead and did you want to do that one again, or why don't you go ahead and yeah, Joe?
At Olive Garden, your favorite things about spring come together with our new flavor-filled pairings. Enjoy our new pastas bursting with indulgent seasonal flavors, perfectly paired with irresistible lamb, shrimp, or chicken. Fresh and friendly, love and laughter, happiness and health, served with all the salad and breadsticks you want. Bring flavor-filled pairings and your family together this spring at Olive Garden.
Yeah, you must have read my notes because you smoothed out from the performance that you sent me. You smoothed it out. Yeah.
Goodness.
There's one thing you were doing, and this is an excellent example to give everybody, and we'll move on. I like the way you we call it punched the client's name, Olive Garden, in the version you sent me, better than I did now. But you want to know what that means, everybody? Nothing. Because every single performance is edited. There is no such thing as somebody doing one take and they just take, I mean, it might happen, but 99.9% of the time, everything is edited. So if you don't get it the one time, I would take it from another time. That is another big thing we will go into in the 5-week course, is you will start to understand the process of creating voiceover. If you don't understand that these things are edited, or understand the way the producers work and your process, where you come into the production process as a voiceover talent, you won't know how to perform for it. Even if you have the world's greatest voice, you know, you need to understand what the process is. And that's what I will open up to you. And if I must say so myself, I'm opening it up to you from an unusual angle because I am a producer and I hire voice talent. I'm not just a voice talent alone. So I'm going to open up what I look for in talent when I go to hire voice talent for my productions. Nice though. You added brightness and I thought that was good, and your flow was better on that.
And it was filmed in this closet.
Well, there you go. See?
Or rather recorded, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I don't know. Why don't I throw it up into a hand? I can take one more. Who would like to? Rachel. Okay, I saw you first. Do you have the copy? Unmute. It's annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I do. I'll do the green thumb one.
Oh, great.
Okay. I'm gonna do that thing where I turn off my video.
Good.
I have a confession to make. I really don't like yard work. You know, the mowing, the mulching, the weeding, the pruning, the constant battle between you and Mother Nature. Let's face it, I have more important things to do. So I've given up, quit, resigned, turned it over to the pros. Green Thumb Landscaping and Lawn Care. I say mulch, they mulch. I say mow, they say how high. Now I love yard work. I could sit and watch it all day long. Green Thumb, for people who love to hate yard work.
There were some lovely moments in there, and I clearly hear your chops. You got good ones. But I would like to try one thing just to prove how when we take apart a script that you can add more to it. I like to call it, you missed a few opportunities. There were some opportunities to really shine even further. For instance, if you want to, what is the flow in this piece? And by the way, I'd like you to speed it up a little bit too. It was a little bit draggy in places. But when you're going through here, they're starting out, they think they're so, you know, they're embarrassed. I have a confession to make, right? They're a little embarrassed about the fact that, you know, you're the head of the garden club in your town and you don't like yard work, you know, or, you know, and then you want to explain what it is because you have to explain yourself to them. You know, look, it's horrible. It's mulching and weeding. And you did lovely personification of those words, by the way. You brought them to life. You know, if you don't know what mulching is, you made them know. But then let's face it, they're turning around. Hey, I'm too big for this job. I'm more important than mulching. And by the time they come around, I could sit and watch it all day long. In other words, come on, go ahead, you go do that, and you do the turn into the king at the end here, right? So that if you can somehow work that progression through, you add more levels to your performance that would give them something to hang on to in an audition. Right? It might say, "Oh, we didn't think of doing it that way," and you've sparked something in there, and then they'll take credit for it too. By the way, why don't you try it one more time and keep that pace moving along?
Sure. I have a confession to make. I really don't like yard work. The mowing, the mulching, the weeding, the pruning, the constant battle between you and Mother Nature. Let's face it, I have more important things to do, so I've given up. Quit, resigned, turned it over to the pros. Green Thumb Landscaping and Lawn Care. I say mulch, they mulch. I say mow, they say how high. Now I love yard work. I could sit and watch it all day long. Green Thumb, for people who love to hate yard work.
Excellent tagline. Tagline is the last line. Excellent on that. I'm going to challenge you one more time, and I'm running out of time here, but I'm going to challenge you on one more thing. You're throwing away the mulch lines.
Okay.
They mulch. In other words, they will do what I tell them to do. And that's why you want them, because so just do it. This is called a pickup. We don't have to do the whole thing again. The top was excellent. I'd even take it from Let's Face It. Let's take it from Let's Face It. And be a little indignant. Be a little bit, because anything sells these days. You've all heard the crazy, Geico commercials and things. I mean, anger sells, nuttiness sells. They've worked it all in. It's not all about gorgeous sounds and everything, which you clearly have, but it's more about how can I get that across to them. So try that one more time, just from Let's Face It, and put on your most indignant feeling, when you felt that way.
Let's face it. I have more important things to do. So I've given up, quit, resigned, turned it over to the pros.
I'm going to stop you there. So I've given up, quit, resigned. I turned it over to the pros. You see what I mean? You're throwing that away. Don't throw it away. Use it. It's not just quit, resigned, because they're not upset about it. They're happy that they quit and resigned.
Okay.
By the way, what I'm doing right now with Rachel is called coaching. A director would never do this. This is, I hope you're okay with it, Rich.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Take it from Let's Face It. Here we go. This is it.
Let's face it. I have more important things to do. So I've given up, quit, resigned, turned it over to the pros. Green Thumb Landscaping and Lawn Care. I say mulch, they mulch. I say mow, they say how high. Now I love yard work. I could sit and watch it all day long. Green Thumb, for people who love to hate yard work.
I mean, that's what we're going for. Did you feel the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. And because now what you have to do when you're on a job like that is you have to challenge yourself that way. And you will, as you start to do that, and to take chances with it, because they will pay off for you. I promise. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. You're a good sport and playing along with me. Thank you so much. And you're an excellent
pleasure.
You're excellent talent. So just last thing I want to say, I know I pushed you all against the limit. I hope you found this fun and would like more of this. And I would be more than happy to work with all of you. I think there's a lot of great talent in this room, if we will. And I think there's a lot of room for growth and where we can take places, take your voice to, so that you can feel more confident in your communications with the other people, in anything you want to do. So last little takeaways. I want you to challenge yourself, where just like we just did, because voice acting, it's a way to try on new personas. It's a way to take yourself to places that maybe you don't get to go on a daily basis in your job or your school life, where you don't get to do that. And the best thing with voice is that you can do it for many, many years. Our voices do not age the way our faces do. And so you can be off camera and not have to, they will hire you well later on in life. Actual age is irrelevant. So my 5 sessions would be geared to improving your technique, exploring the marketplace for voice acting, because it doesn't do any good for you to have great technique if you can't sell yourself out there. And then all will be geared to selecting copy and preparing you to record a demo reel, either a commercial one or a corporate one. And you know how long they are? About a minute. That's all you get to sell yourself out there. One little 60-second reel that would have lots of pieces of different types of copy on it, either geared to commercial market or geared to the corporate market. And so by the end of the 5 weeks, you would feel ready to record that demo reel, and I would be happy to coach you through a demo reel or produce it or however you might want to do it. So that would be the focus of those courses. And please, please remember, if you got nothing else out of this, that every voice is bookable. So there's no such thing as a bad voice or an unmarketable voice. It's just finding the place where you fit what voice hirers like me are looking for. And it's about finding that emotional expression in the performance. When you find that, you'll be able to help yourself in all aspects of life. So I didn't leave a whole lot of time for questions, but if there's anything real urgent or somebody feels, or what you would like, maybe somebody wants to quickly say what they would like to see to get out of a voiceover 5-week session with me, I'd be happy to offer that. Just jump in, just unmute and jump in.
I'll just say one thing. I want everything, all of this. And also, if people don't have responses right now, you all have Adriana's contact info, as well as Meg Honeywell's at the Knowledge Project for, details of how to sign up or any other questions. So if you're not coming up with it now, that's okay.
And if anybody did record, I know we had a little bit of a glitch. If anybody did record and I didn't get to hear it, I will absolutely listen and send you my thoughts and feedback. Jane, I did listen to yours, and I will get that to you. And I'd be happy to then even listen to a follow-up if you wanted to re-record. I'd be happy to listen to that. Anything that's going to make you feel comfortable in this space for learning voiceover.
I thought everybody did a great job. I thought everybody did a wonderful job on their voice. I thought it was excellent. And the coaching that you gave is very great. I really like your coaching style because you were very patient and everything else and stuff. So that's really great. I like that.
I have a great passion for this, and that's why I talk so long. So apologies to Sheila, to Meg, to everybody.
No, it's okay.
Once you wind me up, I can't stop.
I just want to add really quick. Adriana was my coach. I had Adriana in one ear, and I had a sound engineer in another ear. Remember that back in 2014? And that's when we recorded our first demo after the boot camp, and it was my bucket list. I still have it. It was amazing. She's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And did you feel that you grew in other ways that you've used some of the voice acting?
Oh, yeah.
Things besides just starting a voice-over business, voice acting business?
Oh, absolutely. I really, with what I did with voices.com and what I'm hoping to do with Fiverr, yes, absolutely.
Confidence, gave you confidence.
It's my base. It was my base. Now I shoot off from it.
That's great.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
And thank you, everybody, for your patience as well. And like I said, and if you all want to, if anyone here on the call would like to record something that they didn't, and even if they didn't do it before, go ahead, record one of those scripts, send it to me. I'll be happy to offer you some directorial feedback, anything to help further the career along.